Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised. A riot in a casino, a body found near a desert highway, drug busts, weapons, murder, mayhem, the world of the Hells Angels.
These guys are literally shooting each other off motorcycles and blowing each other with bombs.
Violence is the tool they use to hold power, and this outlaw motorcycle gang deploys it ruthlessly.
Around the world, the Hells Angels have left a trail of blood.
If you disrespect them, they will kick your ass.
Two men entered this dangerous world, risking their lives to go deep undercover.
The Hells Angels have their PhDs in violence and intimidation.
They smell the fear, then they've got you.
Buried in the lifestyle, they experienced a rarely seen look inside.
You will lose everything to become a Hells Angel.
You look forward to it. To drive through town at 120 miles an hour.
The drugs.
I saw daily use of methamphetamine, daily use of cocaine.
The weapons.
You're not going to mess with some guy that's got a big old knife that's going to hurt you severely.
Somehow they must survive without paying the ultimate price.
It was hard for me to tell what was true and what was not true anymore.
I was told it's your obligation as a Hells Angel to kill him.
We're in real deep. We're past the point of no return.
Gangland.
Laughlin, Nevada, April 27, 2002. A deadly brawl erupted on a casino floor. The notorious Hells Angels attacked a rival gang. Bikers were stabbed and shot to death in full view of the casino's security cameras.
It's being filmed. That's how bold the move was, to just openly shoot at each other.
They weren't taking prisoners and they were at war.
The Hells Angels have a phrase for their willingness to do whatever it takes. They call it TCB.
TCB is one of their battle cries. It's a motto, it's a mantra, it's a theme for the club. Take care of business. It's a common theme that's repeated to you over and over. The Hells Angels take care of business.
And their members have the criminal records to prove it.
There's membership in the Hells Angels who will put a gun to your head and squeeze the trigger.
The Hells Angels are in the top ranks of powerful biker gangs in America.
It's been referred to as the Big Four motorcycle clubs. You have your Hells Angels, Outlaws, Bandidos, and the Pagans.
The territories of these gangs overlap, and membership to each is fiercely exclusive. Among those four gangs, the Hells Angels are the undisputed leader.
America loves the bad boy, and these guys they're America's bad boys.
Angels come from all walks of life and publicly participate in charity drives and children's fundraisers. The organization promotes itself as America's biggest motorcycle club and celebrates its freewheeling image and way of life. In 1984, George Christie, then president of the Ventura, California chapter, even carried the Olympic torch before a national audience. But within the club, there has always been a violent and criminal element that has cast its shadow on the Hells Angels' positive activities.
The myth is that they're a bunch of rogue, renegade, fun-loving, freelancing patriots who live by their own set of rules. And that's really not the case.
The Hells Angels are the biggest, baddest, most powerful, well-organized, richest motorcycle club in the world.
And they are doing everything they can to keep it that way. The trouble in Laughlin happened during the 2002 River Run biker rally. Hordes of bikers rumbled into this gambling town 90 miles south of Las Vegas.
We would have anywhere in the nature of 70 to 100,000 motorcycle riders here. The big hotel parking lots are completely full of bike after bike after bike.
The Hells Angels were there in force.
It's a display of strength. It's a display that, hey, here we are. We're the #1 group, and you better not mess with us.
That year, a rival was crashing the Hells Angels party. The Mongols, a vicious Southern California biker gang, were also in town. The gang had taken up residence at the far end of Laughlin's Casino Drive.
The Harrah's Casino was the base of operations for the Mongols. The Mongols in the West Coast are the Hells Angels' main adversary, their main rival.
This is one of the largest showings of the Mongols ever at the Laughlin River Run. So the message that the Mongols were sending was, we're not going to take any crap from anybody.
Tension between the two gangs had been brewing all week.
A lot of things drive a rivalry. One of them is obviously territory, money, power, prestige.
We had been receiving intelligence reports that reflected that a fight or a war was going to erupt between the two gangs and that it was imminent.
2 a.m., April 27th. The Mongols were gathered at Rosa's Cantina, a bar in their host hotel, Harrah's Casino. But several Hells Angels had come from across town for a drink.
They wanted to send the message to the Mongols that, hey, you're not going to make us, so we can't choose what bar we want to have a drink at. It was just an in-your-face thing to the Mongols.
Words were exchanged. Mongols started massing around them, but the Angels stayed put and used cell phones to summon reinforcements. On the other side of Laughlin, the rest of the Hells Angels were at their base hotel, the Flamingo.
Within minutes, there were no Hells Angels on the floor. It was almost stunning how quickly they organized and assembled and vanished.
I heard over the radio that 30 or 40 bikes strong, and they were headed towards Harrah's.
The Hells Angels pulled up to Harrah's and stormed inside.
The Hells Angels went to Harrah's Casino to take care of business. They went over there to kick. They went over there, knowing we're going to get wet. They were going to get blood on them, but that's part of the TCB. That's part of taking care of business as a Hells Angel.
They came in there with an attitude and started having confrontations with the Mongols right there, built everything up. All it took was a little spark to light off that ignition.
That spark was lit when a Hells Angel kicked one of the Mongols, and all hell broke loose.
Out come the guns, the knives, the crescent wrenches, the ball-peen hammers, and they're smacking each other.
The whole floor erupted into pandemonium with fighting, with stabbing, with people with wrenches striking other gang members to the back of the head.
Incredibly, most of the battle unfolded on video, a bloody 3-minute riot recorded by hundreds of casino security cameras. The cameras show a battle provoked by the Hells Angels, with the Mongols on the defensive. Chief among the perpetrators, Arizona Hells Angel Calvin Schaefer. Schaefer, armed with a ball-peen hammer, attacked the Mongols closest to him before he was knocked to the floor. Then, according to police, he pulled a gun and began to fire indiscriminately throughout the casino. Another Hells Angel pulled out a knife.
He pulled out a Spyderco knife and started stabbing at Mongols and chasing them down, slashing them, stabbing them. And we believe he stabbed somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 different people.
For almost 3 straight minutes, the casino floor convulsed in a spasm of violence.
It was a complete chaotic nightmare.
This was an all-out brawl between the two gangs, live or die. A gang feud to kill each other. That's it.
Incredibly, no bystanders or casino workers were killed in the crossfire. They fled the scene or took refuge under the dealer tables. But for the bikers, the melee was deadly. Mongol gunfire killed 2 Hells Angels on the casino floor. The Hells Angels took out 1 Mongol. 11 other gang members were injured. Officer Craig Olson and his sergeant were the first to arrive. They faced down the bikers who hadn't already fled.
We cleared the slot bank and we're yelling at them to get down on the floor. There are so many gang members that you are wondering at any given moment, will one of them pop up and just shoot you dead right there?
But the bikers' fight wasn't with police. They held their fire and hit the floor. Olson saw movement out of the corner of his eye.
There was an injured Hells Angel on the floor, and his buddy was there, and he was literally digging his fingers into his buddy's chest. He wanted that bullet out of his buddy's body so that his buddy wouldn't die with the other gang's trash in his body.
Police backup arrived and detained 70 Hells Angels and 42 Mongols. They seized 14 guns and over 100 knives, 10 of them bloodied. It was the most violent incident ever in a Nevada casino. Around the nation, the Laughlin Brawl made headlines. Biker violence this audacious, this public, was unprecedented. In those 3 minutes of brutal violence, the Hells Angels triggered a national outcry and forced federal law enforcement to take full notice.
The violence of that world had now reached beyond club boundaries and had gone into a public place.
In 2002, the Hells Angels biker gang stormed a casino to have a brawl with their rivals, the Mongols. The riot in Laughlin, Nevada was one of the most violent incidents that the Hells Angels had ever been involved in, and its public nature shocked the country.
And these guys were willing to go to war, willing to pull guns, pull knives, pull wrenches, pull screwdrivers.
But this is nothing new.
They've been involved in all kinds of crime. They've been involved in violent crime, they've been involved in drug trafficking, they've been involved in prostitution over the years, weapons charges, assault, murder, all kinds of different crimes.
Just 2 months before the Laughlin riot, the Long Island, New York Hells Angels chapter and another gang, the Pagans, fought a pitched battle, killing 1 and injuring 10. Police seized hundreds of weapons at the scene. This was only the most recent violence in a year that had already seen many crimes attributed to the Hells Angels. In February 2001, National Club spokesman George Christie, who 16 years earlier had carried the Olympic torch through Ventura, California, was arrested for allegedly selling drugs to teenagers. 8 months later, outside Phoenix, a woman's mutilated body was found in the desert. Hells Angels members have been connected to the murder, and a trial is currently pending.
You can go back and you can look at crime after crime after crime that they committed over the years. With 85% of the Hells Angels in Arizona had been arrested for felonies.
To the public, the Hells Angels present a club dedicated to freedom and charitable activities. But behind the scenes, some members have spent decades creating an organization that thrives on violence and intimidation. In 1948, a biker in San Bernardino, California, established a motorcycle club that he named after an elite World War II pilot squadron, the Hells Angels.
It was guys that still had a lot of pent-up energy. They had a mutual love for the motorcycle, and the motorcycles they rode during World War II were Harleys.
A decade later, another biker with ambition took over the California club. A charismatic 20-year-old from Oakland named Sonny Barger.
Sonny Barger has the vision that this club can go a lot farther, that this club doesn't have to be just in Oakland and in San Bernardino and a few other cities.
Under Barger's leadership, the club began to expand, setting up chapters all across California. In 1966, the first chapter outside the state was founded in Omaha, Nebraska. Their image became popular, and the Hells Angels grew to become a household name across the country.
It's that freedom, the sense that the Harleys are like the horses of yesteryear, that these are rebel outlaws fighting the establishment.
But as they expanded, some members found a new way to make money. They began to sell DOA, the dust of angels, to the exploding youth culture.
We call it the Beard and Beat Alliance, which was the hippies and the Hells Angels working together, you know. You buy our dope.
On December 6th, 1969, that alliance went bad at a Rolling Stones concert at Altamont near San Francisco. The Hells Angels, hired as security for the band, began fighting with concertgoers.
A fight explodes in Altamont. A man is stabbed to death by the Hells Angels. The death at Altamont changed forever the image of the Hells Angels as just fun-loving rebels.
In the 1970s, many Hells Angels completed the transition from partying ruffians to participants in a full-fledged criminal enterprise. The Hells Angels became a major U.S. distributor of methamphetamine, a drug that can easily be cooked up in mass quantities in someone's basement. Flush with drug money, the Hells Angels expanded quickly, both in the U.S. and around the world. To protect their image, they incorporated, and today their death head logo is trademarked in over 50 countries.
There's a lot of glamour associated with the Hells Angels. I think it does kind of embrace the Wild West, the outlaw image.
I think there's a little bit of that in a lot of people, and maybe that's what's so enticing about the lifestyle.
By the 1980s, there were some 70 chapters in the U.S. and abroad. But with that expansion came violence. To protect their territory from rival gangs, the Hells Angels grew more lethal.
We saw an explosion of violence, of murder, as the Hells Angels expand and try to fight with rival gangs and increase their drug territory. And they never look back.
To protect their activities, the Hells Angels maintain strict discipline over their members.
It's a very secretive group. It takes a long time to get in. You're monitored once you're in. It's a trademarked group.
Whether you get into the club or not is debated at church. The minutes from these meetings are sent to headquarters for review. Information is also gathered at National Hells Angels conventions.
And at these big meetings, these powwows, business decisions are taken. Which chapter is falling out of favor? Which chapter is falling below its expectations? Who will get the new franchise?
The Angels establish their rules through this system of information sharing and maintain a disciplined power structure within the chapters.
They also are structured very similar to the military, with the president and the vice president, sergeant at arms, and road captains, the leadership, from the top down to the bottom down, from the members to the prospects.
In 1983, a Hells Angel named Butch broke ranks. Under heavy security and hidden behind a screen, he testified to Congress, answering inquiries about the activities of some club members. Of particular interest were suspicious Hells Angels business practices and murder-for-hire schemes the Angels purportedly did for organized crime.
Did the Hells Angels ever commit any acts of violence on behalf of any traditional organized crime families?
Yes. I know they were taking contracts from the Mafia.
In the 1980s, the FBI went after the Angels, targeting top leaders as members of a sophisticated organized crime syndicate, much like the mob.
The ATF and the FBI realize that the Hells Angels are operating as a racket. The Hells Angels are operating as a mafia on wheels.
In 1987, Sonny Barger was arrested for plotting revenge on another gang. For him, being arrested was nothing new, but the event would have lasting significance for the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club.
Sonny Barger is caught on tape discussing the idea of blowing up a clubhouse of a rival club. This is significant because Sonny Barger has always insisted, I may have done some crimes, but I never did anything in the name of the club.
Tried for transporting explosives with the intent to kill, Barger was convicted and sent to a federal prison near Phoenix for 5 years. While their most visible angel served his sentence, the club continued to grow.
They're much smarter than they've ever been. They learn by their mistakes. They've come back stronger and bigger than they've ever been.
Released in 1992, Barger returned to California, but eventually relocated to Phoenix, where he aggressively expanded the Hells Angels into Arizona. But as the Hells Angels grew in power, they faced a challenge from a newer biker gang called the Mongols. In 2001, the rivalry turned deadly at a biker club convention.
The Hells Angels and the Mongols are at what they call a coalition meeting in El Cajon, California. A Mongol pulls out a knife, stabs a Hells Angel.
It was really the start of a biker war.
After the fighting at El Cajon, the rivalry became a fixture in the Southwest, with the Hells Angels doing whatever they could to take care of business.
These guys are literally shooting each other off motorcycles and blowing each other with bombs.
Just 1 year after El Cajon, the Hells Angels-Mongols battle burst into the open and onto video at the Laughlin River Run. For federal law enforcement, the shootout was a public black eye. Their answer? Send in undercover agents who for a year went behind the veil and lived with the violence, lived with the drug abuse, lived as Hells Angels.
We're in the middle of an ongoing war, a period of the most extreme violence in the Hells Angels' existence on the West Coast.
2002. A bloody assault by Hells Angels on a rival biker gang leaves 3 dead in a Laughlin, Nevada casino. The attack stunned law enforcement, especially the ATF, whose job it is to police the criminal underbelly of biker clubs.
It was the inspiration for ATF to go and investigate the Hells Angels with all of our resources. Go full blast to find out what more these guys are into.
The ATF assigned Special Agent Jay Dobbins to go undercover and get as close as he could to the Arizona Hells Angels. By the end, Dobbins hoped to receive one of these, the leather vest, or cut. It's embroidered with the Hells Angels emblem. For all members, law-abiding or not, it is the ultimate recognition of acceptance by the club.
The Hells Angels are more of a traditional biker mentality. That's their most prized possession. It's not their family, it's not their job.
But there's a terrifying catch. It's yours for as long as you are a Hells Angel in good standing. Get on their bad side, and they'll come take it from you. If you have a Hells Angels tattoo on your body, they'll take that too.
It's Hells Angels property in their eyes. They own it. They'll cut it out or burn it out or grind it out of you. They'll take it back with a belt sander, or they'll take it back with a clothes iron. They'll put a hot clothes iron right on that tattoo and lift it right off your body.
Agent Jay Dobbins had been undercover near Laughlin, making contacts in the biker world. He was ready to begin the dangerous game of infiltrating the Angels, and he was bringing a partner. A confidential informant he had worked with for over 8 years, the street-smart Pops.
I guess I'm gifted in that way because, you know, I can walk down the street and I'll guarantee you somebody come up and ask me if I want to buy some dope.
The ATF developed a cover story for their men and added more agents to the team. The foursome presented themselves as bikers who belonged to the Solo Angels, a biker club based out of Mexico who wanted to become Hells Angels. They also claimed to be enterprising criminals.
We're not just a bunch of guys that ride motorcycles. We're running guns and say, hey, if you got guns, if you got crime guns, if you got guns with dirt on them, give them to us or sell them to us. We'll take them into Mexico. You'll never see them again, and we're going to turn it as a profit.
On August 1st, 2002, Dobbins, Pops, and the team suited up and set out for the Mesa, Arizona chapter of the Hells Angels, just outside Phoenix.
And I'll be the first to say I was afraid. I didn't know if I was going to get a handshake or if I was going to get hit on the back of the head with a lead pipe.
At 9 p.m., the men arrived at the clubhouse in Mesa. They chose this chapter because they'd gotten an informant to mention them to the club president, but they were not given a friendly welcome.
We were confronted in the street by probably 7 or 8 Mesa Hells Angels. They were armed, they had weapons, they had guns out. There was a guy that had an axe handle.
The operatives say they convinced the men to give them a meeting with chapter president Bob Johnston.
We had to say, hey, we're members of the Solo Angels. We're here in Arizona. We're here to support the Hells Angels. We want to be your friends.
The promise of easy money and new markets smoothed their way in. Dobbins, Pops, and the 2 other agents soon received the title of, quote, hangarounds. Being a hangaround is the first step in the Hells Angels initiation process.
The title is exactly what you are, which is someone who's like completely outside the club but is friendly to the club, who supports the club, comes to parties, buys t-shirts, those kind of things.
Being a hangaround also means going out riding with the Angels.
It was 100 miles an hour, 2 inches off the guy behind you and the guy in front of you.
I spent a lot of rides, white-knuckling the rides, just like squeezing the handlebars, like holding on for dear life.
Spending time with the Angels also meant acclimating to the violent world they move in.
The Hells Angels have their PhDs in violence and intimidation. It's known and acknowledged and respected worldwide. I saw it, I lived it.
Dobbins and Pops say every moment was a kind of test to see if they were stand-up guys, to see if they were dependable.
In their world, like, Everything rotates around trust and confidence and belief in someone. So it took a little while to warm up into that.
It's a very tight world. It's very tight. I mean, they would die for another brother, where they would step away from a bullet for their wife or, you know, another family member.
Soon, Dobbins and Pops say they were being given club responsibilities. They began to live as Hell's Angels recruits.
The Hell's Angels said we was on the fast track. We was actually buying guns and dope and stuff.
The Hell's Angels are always looking for an angle on whatever the hustle is. My hustle was running guns, and so if there was an angle that they could get in behind me or on my coattails to make money, didn't care if it was legitimate or not. They didn't care if it was legal or not. They wanted a part of my hustle.
Surveillance tapes from this nondescript house in South Phoenix show Pops and Dobbins buying weapons from Angels to traffic through their fake contacts in Mexico. But the Angels didn't just sell dirty guns. According to Dobbins and Pops, gang members were always in the market to find weapons as well. Investigator Tom Allen has spent years pursuing gangs in the Southwest. He has a collection of guns seized from the bikers.
These are some of the weapons that the Hells Angels have been known to use. This particular handgun here is a high-velocity 5.7 pistol round, very dangerous, can penetrate most armor.
But it's not just guns the Angels covet.
Hells Angels will usually have a knife on their person or on their motorcycle. It'll be strapped somewhere. They're big users of knives. We got several knives, like this great big old Bowie knife right here. Intimidation-wise, you're not going to mess with some guy that's got a big old knife. Then you got hidden knives, such as these neck knives like this, that are hidden underneath the cuts or underneath their shirts and stuff, that you can just reach up under and grab that knife and pull it out, and you have it readily accessible.
Finally, there's the weapon that is the Hells Angels' signature, the ball-peen hammer.
They're very heavy, and they can do a lot of damage when they hit you in the head with this or anywhere else. And the reason I like to carry this is because there's no laws against carrying a ball-peen hammer on your person, concealed or otherwise.
Getting weapons off the Hells Angels and back to the ATF was a constant high-wire act for the operatives.
It was terrifying. If you showed one part of fear, you know, it's like being around an animal. If they smell the fear, then they've got you.
But both men say they were accepted, that there was a kinship that existed between the Angels and other outlaw bikers taken into their fold.
These guys, in their world, go to war together, and the bonds that are formed are huge. It's like the brotherhood that's formed.
April 2003, Dobbins and Pops had been in the Hells Angels as hang-arounds for 9 months. They were ready to take the next step in the initiation process. Their fake connection to Mexican gun and drug markets had different Arizona chapters vying to sponsor them.
We came in as people that were involved in the same lifestyle, in the same culture, in the same world.
Dobbins had made good connections in the Skull Valley chapter, just 100 miles from Phoenix, and felt they had the best chance of moving up quickly there. And so the agents joined that club as prospects. Being a prospect is the last step before full membership, and it's the hardest.
To be a prospect, you're willing to do anything. You're going to do all of the grunt work that nobody wants to do. The prospect is really the whipping post.
Dobbins and Pops soon became intimately familiar with what that meant. Just because they appeared to be successful gun runners didn't mean they would easily be accepted into the gang.
I was told when I started prospecting by my sponsor that you will lose everything to become a Hells Angel. You're going to lose your car, you're going to lose your wife or your girlfriend, you're going to lose your family. We've given up everything for the right, for the privilege, for the honor of becoming a Hells Angel.
They want to slap you, they slap you. They want to stand you in front of them, make fun of you, pee on you, whatever they want to do. I mean, you're a slave to the Hells Angels.
As prospects, Dobbins and Pops were at the beck and call of full members. Their loyalty was tested, as well as their guts under fire, and whether they could be trusted. Slowly, the agents say they were initiated into the Hells Angels' world of power and lawlessness. Among their assignments, Pops says they used to shake down strippers at a nearby club.
Before a woman could get on stage, you had to pay $20 to the Hells Angels. So we go collect the money every night at the bar. So there was 5 dancers. That was $120 that went in the Hells Angels' pockets before they even even thought about dancing.
Even just being around the Hells Angels meant there were constant pressures to drink and do drugs.
You got guys drinking, you got guys smoking, you got guys chasing women around, you got guys using drugs.
Oh, bottom line is if they dropped a line in the table, I don't care who you was, in that clubhouse, you did it.
Drugs were plentiful around the club. So were women.
Yeah, a woman into the Hells Angels was nothing but, you know, go get my beer or go screw my buddy type thing, you know, and there was women that's what their job was.
According to Dobbins and Pops, beside the drugs and women, the final ingredient that makes up the Hells Angels is violence.
You don't disrespect a Hells Angel. A cowboy got in the way of one of the Hells Angels and bumped into him, and it wasn't about a second and a half later, there was like 25 Hells Angels just stomping the hell out of him.
And Dobbins and Pops were expected to participate. They were the expendable soldiers in any fight. It's all part of the prospecting process. June 12, 2003. Dobbins says he received a phone call from Skull Valley chapter member Joby Walters.
I get a call from Joby. Get all your weapons and get to the clubhouse. And I was like, is this a test? He's like, hey, don't ask questions, just get your stuff and get to the clubhouse.
Walters allegedly ordered Dobbins and Pops to target a rival gang of bikers at a Las Vegas biker convention.
We was just to open fire on them. That's what we was there for, was to kill them. Just start shooting.
This is an undercover's nightmare because you don't get to call timeout and say like, hey guys, actually, you know what, you're all under arrest because I'm a cop. You gotta go through with it.
We're in real deep, yeah. We're past the point of no return.
June 2003. A team of ATF operatives living as prospects for the Hells Angels was headed toward Las Vegas. All motorcycle clubs, including the Hells Angels, have members who ride legitimately and never break the law. But these agents had infiltrated a different club altogether. They say they had been given orders by Skull Valley Angel Joby Walters to execute members of a rival gang or pay with their own lives.
The message was, any Bandido that showed up there, you were going to kill on sight. You're our disposable soldiers. You will do this if you want to become a made member.
The Hells Angels told me, if these guys show up, if the Bandidos show up, and you don't shoot them off their bikes, we're going to shoot you.
Gang-on-gang violence is a constant hazard for all outlaw bikers. It's one of the biggest dangers faced by anyone who joins a criminal motorcycle club. Much of the violence is based on the right to claim territory. Ownership is staked by flying the gang's colors. As a result, many of the battles come down to what bikers wear on their club jackets. Above and beneath the insignia are what bikers call rockers. Top rockers say what club they belong to. Bottom rockers tell what territory they are from. Part of what fuels the Angels' rivalry with the Mongols is the Mongols daring to wear a California bottom rocker on their jacket.
The Hells Angels' perspective was, no one wears a California bottom rocker except us or without our permission.
People are getting shot off motorcycles, they were getting blown up, drive-by shootings, just because they had that bottom rocker on there that said California. There's probably been more bottom rocker wars with these motorcycle clubs than any other reason.
Deep undercover, Dobbins and Pops say they found themselves recruited to commit murder.
We was ordered to shoot to kill. I mean, not even to look at the cars just going down the road, just start shooting.
With no way out, Dobbins tried a desperate gambit.
In the last minute ditch effort, that's the driver, we need to get gas. And in that 2 minutes, he was able to make a phone call and notify law enforcement.
The police pulled over the Bandidos and detained them long enough that the Hells Angels attack was canceled. The Angels returned home, thinking they were the victims of bad luck. And Dobbins and Pops gained new respect from the club for their apparent willingness to kill under orders. Dobbins now believed he could achieve the ultimate goal, get initiated and become a full member of the Hells Angels.
It became like my personal mission to see if I could keep this case going because I didn't feel like I'd done everything I could do.
But privately, ATF superiors began to fear the agents had lost sight of the line between themselves and the Angels. Pop says they were partly right.
You look forward to it, To drive through town at 120 miles an hour and saying "F you" to the cops, and know that you can pull into a bar and control it in 2 minutes. I mean, for a criminal, that's a great thing.
But after almost a year among the Hells Angels, the pressure of living an alternate life took its toll.
You're running with guys who are taking meth hits, who are taking meth bumps, but you don't get to cheat like that when you're a cop. I was drinking a 6-pack of Red Bull a day. I was eating 20 or 25 hydroxycut diet pills a day, all trying to get myself through the day.
While Dobbins said he could barely hold himself together, Pops started to crack.
You know, as days progressed, I lost my identity. It was hard for me to tell what was true and what was not true anymore. I was living in such a lie.
They are living like devils. How much can you ride into the abyss and not fall into that abyss? And that was always the knife's edge that J. Dobbins and his undercover crew were riding.
In June 2003, the ATF decided to extricate Pops. It was their riskiest move yet. Angels, even prospects who leave on bad terms, face terrifying repercussions.
You don't walk away from the Hells Angels, even as a prospect. You lose everything. You know, it's a do-or-die situation.
To get Pops out, the agents exploited the long simmering rivalry between the Angels and the Mongols and wove together this fictional tale for the gang.
There was a Mongol, a wandering Mongol in Magdalena, Mexico, who was disrespecting the Hells Angels. They were going to send Pops down to Magdalena to go hunt for the Mongol.
Dobbins says everyone believed Pops left Phoenix to go after the Mongol.
So part of the big picture Mongol murder scheme story was that during this Mongol hunt, the Mongol killed Pops.
And I died in Mexico. That was the ATF story to get me out of the Hells Angels.
J. Dobbins spun the tale for his Hells Angels club members and says they bought it, especially Joby Walters, who had originally invited them into the club.
This created a real emotional turmoil in the Hells Angels. I mean, they really got emotional about it, especially Pop's sponsor, because, I mean, he died for the club, and this was huge.
Dobbins, seeing an opportunity to impress the Angels and further gain their trust, decided to avenge his friend. According to Dobbins, Walters supplied the weapon.
I was told it's your obligation as a Hells Angel member to kill him.
In the Arizona desert, with the help of the Phoenix Police Department, the ATF agents orchestrated a remarkable murder scene.
We used a seized vest from the Mongols Motorcycle Club. We put it on one of our task force members. We dug a shallow grave in the desert. We duct taped his hands and his feet. We put him in the shallow grave.
They put a cow's stomach on his head to simulate a gunshot wound to the head, and they took pictures of it.
Dobbins then FedExed the bloody vest and photos of the murdered biker back to Phoenix and waited for the Hells Angels' reaction.
They completely embraced me. One of the members took a Hells Angels vest and draped it over my shoulders, like you would imagine like a robe being draped over a king. They said, "You're a member of this club now. You did what it takes. You took care of business."
In June 2003, ATF agent J. Dobbins and a team of undercover agents had been living as Hells Angels recruits for almost a year and had finally been invited to join the club as full members. No other federal agents had ever penetrated the Hells Angels so successfully. Then, word came down from ATF superiors, shut down the operation. You've risked enough. It was time to begin making arrests. But for some, the decision wasn't clear-cut.
Who knows how far they could have gone? Who knows what they could have found out nationally and internationally? But the ATF decides, just as J. Dobbins has a chance to move in right into the hierarchy of the Hells Angels, to pull the plug.
The government had chosen caution and rushed their agents out of Phoenix.
I immediately went into a hiding situation in anticipation of threats from the Hells Angels. They were going to know very quickly that they'd been betrayed.
J. Dobbins and the ATF in Phoenix were not the only ones moving against members of the Hells Angels. Other agencies had been working together and were closing in on criminal elements of the club. In Las Vegas, police investigator Tom Allen had spent a year piecing together the camera evidence from the brawl in Laughlin. Tape by tape, he had built up damning evidence on the Hells Angels most responsible for the riot.
We were able to tie the cuts and everything, just like a fingerprint, to the individuals on the videotape. So we were able to identify everybody who's involved in the casino.
In San Diego, a joint DEA-ATF wiretap investigation had turned up evidence of a plot to kill Mongols, engineered by the San Diego Hells Angels chapter president.
What the wiretaps reveal is a consistent war plan against the Mongols, so they're able to prove that these individuals were engaged in violent acts because they were a gang that was at war with another gang.
Beginning on June 11, 2003, the ATF launched a series of raids on Hells Angels compounds across the Southwest. First, the agency targeted Hells Angels in San Diego, conducting massive raids and arresting 20 local members. Next, on July 8th, ATF officials launched a statewide sweep of the Hells Angels in Arizona, where Jay Dobbins and his team had collected evidence for their case.
Hundreds of police officers move in against several clubhouses in Arizona.
It was just mass pandemonium when they did this. They eventually were able to indict 16 of the Hells Angels, and they seized thousands of rounds of ammunition, thousands of guns.
The bikers are stunned when they learn that the people they had treated as friends, the solo angels, the people they had trusted, were in fact police agents.
In December, the ATF moved one last time, rounding up the alleged perpetrators of the Laughlin Brawl. The Hells Angels were seemingly on the run. In the wake of the raids, the undercover agents say infuriated members issued death threats against them.
Their pictures are out there. They got hate email and warnings. You know what happens to rats. That's the cost of going after a gang that believes so much in its colors that it will stop at nothing, including murder, to protect the prestige of the Hells Angels.
In hiding, ATF agent Jay Dobbins is under no illusions about the price he has paid to bring charges against the Hells Angels.
Not for a second did I ever underestimate that they were ready, willing, and able to do whatever they had to do to get to me.
Dobbins took comfort in the belief that the ATF finally had the Hells Angels on the ropes. That operation and ensuing raids had netted overwhelming evidence against the biker gang.
We had all the guns, we had all the drugs, we had all the criminal conversations. All those small and big pieces of the case came together, and we had everything that we needed to prosecute the Hells Angels.
But the wide-ranging legal effort against the Hells Angels disintegrated.
There's infighting, even within the ATF. Infighting between the ATF and some prosecutors. But the prosecution later discovered that some documents and evidence were withheld by the ATF that the ATF managers didn't think had to be disclosed.
By 2007, much of the case had been dismissed. The Hells Angels did pay a price. Chapters across the country were smashed, their image broken. Many were arrested, including Bob Johnston, Joby Walters, and the instigators of the Laughlin riot. But the scope of the case and the eventual convictions fell hopelessly short of the goals set by Jay Dobbins and the other undercover agents, who had risked their lives in the hopes of something more.
Neither in Arizona nor in Laughlin were the police and the prosecutors able to make the gang conspiracy, to make the racketeering charges stick.
What we did sent a shockwave into the club. I think it showed them that they can be penetrated. That's pretty much where my satisfaction rests.
Undaunted by the government's efforts, Hells Angels chapters have continued to multiply, not only here, but around the world. And though violence follows, the Angels officially maintain they are not a criminal organization.
It went from a one-chapter club out of Northern California to a club now that's in 30 countries with probably over 250 chapters around the world.
The bikers, outlaw bikers, is America's export to the international crime world. Think about it. The bikers are the only crime group that started in America and expanded around the world.
The Hells Angels will never go away. They will never vanish. They will only get bigger and stronger.
You have this whole hidden war going on in our neighborhoods between the police and the Hells Angels. And this is a war that is far, far from over.